Today we are talking about NYC 988, which is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. So what is NYC 988? So NYC 988 is your connection to free confidential mental health support. If you call 988, you can get connected to mental health resources. You can talk to a trained counselor, and you can also get help with substance use if that's something you're struggling with as well. One thing I will note, because it was something that was new information to me in the past couple of years, is that you don't have to be having suicidal thoughts. You don't have to be in a life-threatening crisis or anything like that to call this number. If you are struggling with your mental health in any way, if you have questions about accessing mental health resources, you can call this number and talk to a counselor. So don't feel like you have to be at some certain state of emergency in order to call this number. Just keep that in mind. NYC 988 is available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They have services directly in English and Spanish, but then they have translation services in over 200 additional languages as well. So trying to make that as accessible to everyone as possible. So who is NYC 988 for? It's for anyone who needs support with their mental health. You could just be going through a particularly stressful time. I know the world is extremely stressful right now. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of oppression. There's a lot of things that we are dealing with from the government and elsewhere. If you need help, please do reach out for it, and don't think that you need to meet any certain sort of criteria in order to contact them, except that you would like mental health support. Like I said earlier, 988 is actually the national mental health lifeline number. So if you're anywhere in the US, you can call 988. If you're in New York City and you call 988, what you will get connected to is our local version of 988. So our local NYC 988. So that's why I keep saying NYC 988. It's just the local version of the national number that you'll reach if you call it. So how can you connect to NYC 988? So I was calling it a hotline. You can just call them. You can call the number 988. Just pick up your phone, dial 988, and you'll get a little list of options, but then quickly you should be connected to a counselor. You can also text with 988. So if you're more comfortable texting, you can start a new conversation with 988. I actually showed you how to do that just because I think some people might be more comfortable starting a new text conversation than others. I just wanted to show you the steps for that if it's something you haven't done before. You can also access the text, talk, or chat options from the NYC 988 website, which we'll look at together. So this is what I wanted to show you about starting a new text thread. What you're going to do is open the app that you use on your phone to text. It probably has an icon that looks a little something like that. It's like the little talk thing. And then once you open that, you should have something that looks like this, or something that says start a new conversation. That's what you want to do, because you're going to be starting a conversation with 988. On my phone, I click something that looks like that. That's like a little plus a new chat. And then what you're going to do, this can get a little confusing because there's two different empty boxes here. You want to put in the contact information of the person you're starting the chat with up here. So you're going to put 988 as the recipient. I know it's not a long number, but it's enough. That'll go straight to 988. So make sure you have 988 up here, and then whatever you want to say as your opening thing. I just said hello. I didn't actually send this either because I wasn't talking with them directly, but I just wanted to show you the steps. But whatever you want to say to open, you want to type that down here and then click there to send it. Just make sure you're putting the number in here. And this is true for any text you would send to anybody, but I think 988 is a good example for us to go over those skills. Contact up here, first message up there, click the arrow, or the paper airplane, I should say. That's one way to do it. So you can call 988, you pick up your phone, call 988. You can start a new text chain with 988, or you can access these options or a chat feature going directly to the website. So I'm going to show you the website just because it has that and other resources on it as well. If you're going to the website, first thing you need to do is open up whatever it is, the app on your phone that you use to access the internet. It might be Safari, it might be Google Chrome, it might be something that's just called internet. I use Google Chrome, so I'll show you from my end. And here, that was Google Chrome down in the corner. I went to the SMART website, which you should check out. And then what you're going to type in, I know this is a long one, but the HTTPS on this is what makes it secure. So you want to make sure you're doing this. It's https://nyc988.cityofnewyork.us. You should also be able to just Google NYC 988, and that should be the first thing that comes up too. And what you should see when you type this in is the front page of the website that looks like this. What you'll see there is you have language options up here. And then you have links to talk, text, or chat with a counselor. So these are just quick ways to get to these different options. The difference between text and chat is that text, you use the texting app on your phone. Chat, you'll have a little window where you'll be chatting back and forth with somebody in your internet browser. So if you've ever done customer service or something, sometimes that's how they have you talk to a customer service representative. It just shows up in your internet window. That's what the chat option is. If you don't want to text, if you'd rather just use it on your screen of your internet browser, that's fine. To change the language, pretty straightforward. Just go up here and click on the language you need. It'll ask you if you're a robot. Say that you're not. And then it should translate the entire website for you, not just that front page, but the entire website. And then also from the home page, you can click on any of these methods to start talking with a counselor. I want to show you this one. If you click on talk, it'll say you're leaving the site just because it's going to take you to the general 988 lifeline. You're going to hit call there and it'll take 988 directly to your phone. So it'll dial that in there for you. So again, let's look at that. If you click on the talk option, you're going to say yes, continue. It'll take you to the main 988 site and you'll click on call. But because you're calling locally, this will go to the NYC 988 line. Again, you can do that, or you can just type in 988 in your phone and call 988. Just options. If you click on the chat option, again, it's going to say, do you want to leave the site? Go ahead and do that for now. And then they're going to ask you to fill out a really brief survey about how you're currently feeling just before they start the chat with you. They're going to ask you, are you currently having any sort of suicidal thoughts? Or have you had them in the past couple of months? Rate how you're feeling right now on a scale of 1 to 5, from okay to extremely upset. And then I just want to show you what all these are, so none of these are surprise. Oh, and your zip code too. They'll ask that at the beginning. And then you can answer some optional questions too that ask about what is it that you're currently struggling with. Again, this is optional, but it's addiction, anxiety, depression, relationship issues, any of those things. You can put those in if you want to be more specific. You don't have to, but you can. And then once you fill that out and submit it, that will send it. He's going to be the person responding to your counseling request, and they'll know just going in a little bit more about you than just coming in cold. So what should you expect? And I think it can be intimidating sometimes to reach out like this because you don't know what's going to be on the other end. Like I said, if you're doing the chat option, they'll do that little survey. If you're calling or if you're texting, you'll have the option to press 2 for Spanish. They have full services in Spanish if that's what you need to access. If you need access in a different language, you can just tell the counselor who comes on that you need translation services for whichever language it is you need. There's 200 different languages. So that's the first thing. Then your counselor will come online or respond to your text. They'll introduce themselves and they'll ask you about what's going on. How are you doing? They'll listen to your concerns. They'll ask you about if you're currently safe, if you're in a safe situation, and they will provide you with support and ongoing resources for mental health care that might be more continuous. So they might connect you with a counseling program. Many of their resources are through city hospitals, through Medicaid providers. You can be real specific with them about what your insurance situation is, and they can help you navigate those resources. It's important to know that 988 calls are confidential, so your information is not going to be shared with anyone outside of the 988 network. The only reason it would be is if the counselor deems that you might be currently a danger to yourself or to someone else. So that's something that by law they have to send a team to talk to you if that's the case. But other than that, information would not be shared with anyone else. NYC 988 also maintains a database of mental health services providers. So if you don't think you want to actually talk to a counselor, or you're not ready to talk to a counselor yet, but you would like to see what some of your options within New York City are mental health care and mental health support, you can go to Find Services on their website, and I'll show you how to do that. We're going to go to the menu button here and go to Find Services. And then you're going to scroll down and you just type whatever you're looking for in this box. So you can do a zip code, you can do a certain mental health concern. You could say outpatient programs. Let me bring this back so you can see what I did here. So you could say depression, you could say children's mental health. I'm going to put in 10029, all of them that are in this directory. We have Metropolitan Hospital, we have Union Settlement, and then we have links to all of these locations as well so that we can get more information. We have child-specific resources for children and adolescents. So again, if you typed children's mental health in there, you would get a bunch of those too. I think this is important. You have Mount Sinai's outpatient clinic for opiate addiction. It's important to note too that NYC 988 is about drug use as well. So if you are facing substance use issues, if you are looking for counseling related to substance use, this is your go-to place as well. If it's something you're struggling with, just keep that in mind too. That is part of the bigger picture of mental health that we're talking about with NYC 988. So substance use, mental health will all come. There's also some coping and wellness tips on its website, which I think they're very straightforward. I think they can be useful in times when you might feel stressed out. So we're going to access those by going to the menu and then coping and wellness tips. I'm just going to click on the one that's tips for staying mentally healthy. And some of these may have been things that you've heard before, and some of them are things that I've heard before, but I need to be reminded of, especially when I'm really stressed out. So I'm just giving you a sense of what's on here. One of the big ones here is asking for help, of course, and that is the reason why NYC 988 exists. And SMART is here to help too. Also, there's a place on the menu where you can find out more about crisis services, either helping someone else who's in a crisis or making a plan for when you have a mental health crisis. These are good things to look at when you are just thinking about taking care of yourself and other people in your life. You might not be in crisis right now, but just to think about what you would do if you were. So you're going to hit menu and crisis services, and there's a whole list of things you can access here. So knowing who to call during a mental health crisis, learning more about mobile crisis teams. Mobile crisis teams are the people who respond to mental health crisis calls where somebody might be in danger, and they're the people who respond instead of law enforcement. They're trained to deal with mental health crises as opposed to something that's involving law enforcement. So you can learn more about that and how those work here. And then also there's information about things like crisis respite centers, so places you can go if you're currently in crisis, how to help other people, how to make a safety plan. I clicked on the safety plan one here. So how you can plan for yourself, knowing things that can make your mental health more challenging for you, making lists of those things, what to do in those circumstances, who to call, who to reach out to. So those are all resources you can access from the site. One thing I just want to say, remember that you are not alone. Many people struggle with their mental health. We are here for you. SMART is here for you to help connect you to the resources. We may not be counselors ourselves, but we will do our very best to connect you to the support that you need. If you're struggling with anything related to mental health or substance use, that's why NYC 988 is here too. Their network is very wide and they can connect you with resources as well. But I just want you to know that there are people to reach out to. You're not alone in this experience. I also wanted to list a couple of specific additional hotlines. 988 used to have a press 7 option for LGBT people. The current government took that away. So here are some options for LGBTQ people. So there's the Trans Lifeline, the LGBT National Help Center. Do know that if you call NYC 988, especially our local version of it, they should be trained to deal with people who are LGBTQ. If that is not the case, you can ask to talk to a different counselor or call one of these numbers, but they should be trained to be LGBTQ affirming and supportive. Also, there's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. So if you are currently facing domestic violence or interpersonal violence, that's a number for you to call as well. If you call NYC 988, they should have a connection to that for you too. They're well connected. They can probably hook you up with many of these resources as well, but these are just the direct numbers for some of these if you need them.